Welcome back, everybody, to the Infinite Expansion Podcast. Today, we're going deep on paradigms and how they can really impact our success. Specifically, we'll be looking at some powerful insights from Bob Proctor's Paradigm Shift series. Have you ever felt like you're capable of so much more, like something's holding you back?
Oh, yeah. I think we all have.
Well,
Yeah.
that something might just be your paradigm.
That's a fascinating concept, isn't it? Proctor describes a paradigm as a collection of habits and beliefs, often inherited or formed in childhood, that essentially act like a mental program kind of running in the background and controlling our actions and results.
Okay, so it's like a mental operating system. But how can something so subtle have such a big impact on our lives?
Think of it this way. If you're running outdated software on your computer, it's going to limit its performance, right? Outdated paradigms can be just as limiting. They can prevent us from seeing opportunities, taking risks, and ultimately achieving what we're truly capable of. Proctor actually says paradigms are the very reason why success for most people is a puzzle.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like we're trying to play a new game with an old rule book. So how do our paradigms affect our success specifically?
Well, Proctor breaks success down into two key elements: knowing where you are and where you want to go. If you don't have a clear understanding of your current situation and your desired destination, it's impossible to create a roadmap for success. He shares a story about being 26 years old, unhappy, broke, and believing he was stuck. It wasn't until someone challenged his paradigm that he began to see a different path for himself.
That must have been a powerful realization. I imagine it's easy to feel trapped by our circumstances, especially if we've been operating under the same paradigm for years. So how did he break free?
Proctor emphasizes the importance of focusing on the what, your desired outcome, rather than getting bogged down in the how. He uses the examples of Edmund Hillary, the first person to summit Mount Everest, and the Wright brothers, pioneers of flight. Neither knew exactly how they would achieve their goals, but their unwavering focus on the what paved the way for their groundbreaking success.
Those are incredible examples. I've often found myself stuck in the how, overthinking and strategizing instead of just taking action. But what about logic and reason? How do those fit in when we're trying to challenge our paradigms?
This is where it gets really interesting. Proctor argues that our paradigms actually control our logic, making certain ideas seem illogical, even impossible. Remember, what was once considered illogical, like humans flying, is now commonplace. Our paradigms create boundaries based on past experiences and inherited beliefs, not necessarily on what's truly possible.
So you say we should throw logic out the window entirely? That seems a little risky, doesn't it?
Not quite. It's more about recognizing that our current logic might be limited by our paradigm. It's about asking ourselves, what if what I believe to be illogical is actually possible? What amazing things could I achieve if I dared to challenge those deeply ingrained assumptions?
I see what you mean. It's about expanding our perception of what's possible and pushing past those self-imposed limitations. But how do we actually go about challenging these deeply ingrained paradigms? They seem so well ingrained.
Yeah. Proctor believes it starts with becoming aware of our thoughts. He argues that we have the power to choose our thoughts consciously, rather than letting our paradigms dictate them. It's a subtle but profound shift. Instead of passively accepting the thoughts that pop into our heads, thoughts often shaped by our paradigm, we can start to question them. Are these thoughts serving me? Are they based on truth, or are they just echoes of limiting beliefs I've inherited?
That's a powerful idea. It reminds me of that saying, you are not your thoughts. But if our thoughts are so influenced by our paradigm, how do we even begin to separate the two?
Proctor suggests taking a closer look at our results. He argues that our results are a direct reflection of our thinking. If we're not happy with the results we're seeing in our lives, whether it's in our careers, relationships, finances, or health, it's a sign that our thinking needs to change.
So if I'm constantly struggling financially, for example, it might be because my paradigm around money is holding me back.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let's say you were raised in a household where money was always tight, and you constantly heard messages like, money doesn't grow on trees, or we can't afford that. Those messages become part of your paradigm, shaping your beliefs about money and influencing your financial decisions.
It's like those beliefs become a self-fulfilling prophecy, keeping us stuck in the same financial patterns. But if our paradigms are formed so early in life, are we doomed to repeat those patterns forever?
Absolutely not. Proctor emphasizes that we have the power to change our paradigms, even those deeply ingrained beliefs we've carried with us for years. It starts with awareness. Once we become aware of the thoughts and beliefs that are shaping our results, we can start to challenge them and replace them with more empowering ones.
That makes sense.
Mm.
But it sounds like a lot of work. How do we actually go about changing these deeply ingrained patterns?
Think of it like upgrading your computer's operating system. You're essentially replacing outdated programming with new, more efficient software. This happens through repetition. By consistently exposing ourselves to new ideas, new ways of thinking, and new beliefs, we can gradually reprogram our subconscious minds.
So it's like we're creating new neural pathways, new ways of thinking and responding to the world around us.
Precisely. Proctor talks about this concept of vibration. He believes that our thoughts and beliefs create a specific energy frequency, a vibration that attracts experiences matching that frequency.
I've heard about the law of attraction, but I've always been a bit skeptical. It sounds a little too good to be true.
It's not about wishing for something and having it magically appear. It's about aligning your thoughts, beliefs, and actions with your desired outcome. If you want to achieve financial abundance, for example. But your subconscious is still clinging to that old belief that money is scarce. You're essentially sending mixed signals to the universe.
That makes sense. It's like trying to drive a car with one foot on the gas and the other on the brake. It's not going to get very far. So how do we start shifting our vibration to attract the results we desire?
Proctor emphasizes the importance of choosing our thoughts consciously. Instead of letting our minds run on autopilot, we need to become more deliberate about the thoughts we allow ourselves to dwell on. If you catch yourself thinking negative or limiting thoughts, gently redirect your focus to something more positive and empowering.
So it's about becoming the CEO of our own minds, consciously choosing the thoughts that will serve us and help us achieve our goals.
Exactly. It takes effort and practice. But the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And as your thoughts become more aligned with your desires, your vibration will naturally shift, attracting experiences that match your new frequency.
This is all starting to make a lot of sense. But there's one thing I'm still wondering about. Proctor talks about these quantum leaps we can achieve through the transference of experience and information. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, it sounds like we can almost fast-track our growth by tapping into the wisdom of those who have already achieved what we desire.
So it's about finding those who have already achieved what we want and learning from their experiences.
Precisely. Seek out mentors, read books, attend seminars. Surround yourself with people who are already living the kind of life you envision for yourself. You can absorb their knowledge and experience, accelerating your own growth.
That's a really encouraging thought. It makes this whole concept of paradigm shifting feel less daunting. It's not about figuring it all out on our own. It's about leveraging the collective wisdom that's already out there.
And remember, it's a journey, not a destination. You're constantly evolving and refining your paradigms as you learn and grow. There's no finish line. It's about continuous expansion and becoming the best version of yourself.
This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of how my thoughts and beliefs are shaping my reality. What's the most important takeaway you'd want our listeners to remember?
I think the key takeaway is this. You have the power to choose your thoughts, and therefore you have the power to shape your reality. Don't let outdated paradigms hold you back from achieving your full potential. Challenge your limiting beliefs, embrace new possibilities, and step into the extraordinary life that's waiting for you.
So for anyone listening who's ready to break free from those old paradigms and create a life of infinite expansion, where should they start?
Start by becoming aware of your thoughts. Pay attention to the stories you're telling yourself, the beliefs you're holding on to, and the ways those thoughts and beliefs are showing up in your results. Once you have that awareness, you can start to make conscious choices about the thoughts you entertain and the beliefs you choose to empower.
That's great advice. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. This has been a truly transformative conversation.
It's been my pleasure. Remember, you are capable of amazing things. Don't let anything hold you back from living the life of your dreams.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of paradigms. We hope you found it insightful and empowering. Remember, the journey of infinite expansion starts with a single thought. What will you choose to think today?